two statements from the gospel keep jumping out to me. The first is this, and I think it is quite obvious, many of you couldn't pick this out. You cannot be the slave of both God and money. You cannot be the slave of both God and money. Quite obvious, right? How many of us there go and admit that we are the slave of money? Even if you are, you also cannot put up your hand. Next question, more realistic. How many of us dare to admit that we are slave of God? Also dare not put up their hand. Because we think that we are humble. We know we should not be chasing money to be a slave of money. But maybe the problem is this. We want to be a slave of money because we want to chase the material things. But we also want to be the master of God. Not only we want to chase money, we want God to bless us in the way that we want Him to bless us. We want to be slave of money and master of God. Obare should be the other way around. But Jesus says money is not bad in itself. And even He says, use that tainted thing to win for you friends for the kingdom of God. So that these friends will welcome you, will journey with you into God's kingdom as well. Money itself is not bad. What is the problem? The problem is that when we let the material needs be the sole focus of our lives, or the main focus of our lives, we let material needs get the better of us. There are a few ways that this manifests in our lives. First, I'm sure many of you are working. Not all of us, most of us are working, not all of us. I think most of us are working. We think of career progression, right? Promotion, how to better ourselves. Even in our own personal lives, we think of expanding, expanding our families, of course, as we get bigger families, we also think of getting bigger houses, First we start driving a small car, then we think of upgrading the car so that as we have more children, the car can accommodate all that. We think of all this progression, But how about our spiritual lives? 1 hour a week is enough. And that is why we have this term called Sunday Catholics. For those of you who are here and thinking 1 hour is enough, I have a better term for you. They're called Sunday Evening Catholics. Is it really enough, brothers and sisters? If we want career progression, how about spiritual progression? Work is more important than God. When we are tired, we skip Sunday Mass because why? God will understand. We skip prayer. Why? Because God will understand. But when you're tired on Monday, you cannot skip work on Tuesday. Why? Because boss won't understand. Your love is because you are afraid or you find it foolish. Isn't it true? Who is more important, our boss? He pays us our salary, true. But you don't forget, today you get your salary, tonight you may not be able to spend. Because God controls how long we are on this earth. We fear the material, we fear our bosses and all that, but sometimes we don't live as if we fear God. Even those of us who have children, ballet, enrichment classes, music classes, tuition, these are more important than catechism class. And so we shop. Here is very good because the East District, 3 churches very nearby. Here, Holy Land, OLBS. So down the same road, that's a bit down the same road. Within 5-10 minutes of drive of each other. We shop for the best parishes, for the best timing, to suit our children's schedule. If cannot suit, then what happens? Complain to the priest, Father, why your timing so like that one? Must change, Why? To suit your timing lah. What is the priority? Material studies, yes, this is important. Spiritual studies, more important. When we send our children for catechism Do we spend time improving our spiritual lives? How? First, daily prayer. Do we spend time every day in prayer? Spiritual reading and reflections. You want job improvement, ongoing, career advancement, ongoing training and all that. Hey, spiritual reading and reflections. And if you are tired, you need some peace and quiet. You are so blessed. You have a beautiful adoration room. We spend time adoring God in the Blessed Sacrament. And like I said, ongoing formation in our work and what about our spiritual lives? Since COVID, it is so easy. You just turn on YouTube, you do a simple search. There's so many topics that we can enhance our knowledge about God. And finally, you are building all this information to be find an avenue to serve a ministry in our parish. That's one way we contribute back to the community. Which brings me to my second point. The second thing that keeps jumping out at me as I was preparing today's homily. Jesus says the children of this world are more astute in dealing with their own kind than are the children of light. I always wonder, out there in the real world, we are so good. We are so good as workers, as producers, managers, supervisors, administrators, bankers, lawyers, and all that. But when we walk through the gates of the church, we become semi-idiots. You know why? Because Father knows that you are in the finance field, asks you to be helping in the finance council. No, Father, I'm not good enough. No, you're not good enough. You're managing the accounts of multi-million-dollar corporation. You're not good enough. Maybe our church account's not big enough for you to manage. You're CEO or CFO, you're managing people in the workplace. Come here to help in the ministry. Oh, Father, I don't know what to do. Hello? At workplace, you know what to do. Come here, suddenly don't know. Why? Why? Is it really because we don't know? This weekend and next weekend, we need, and we are recruiting more catechists. Many of you here, if we invite, I don't know now. Really don't know? Don't know or don't want to know? Today I'm calling your bluff because I dare to say, you are not willing to contribute. It's so difficult, so time consuming, all the other conditions that you can give. Because why? Simple excuse. Don't want. It's not even an excuse. I think that is part of the truth. You're not willing to. Because it's too time consuming. All the energy is spent at work. Come to church. I still must do work. But that is the truth, isn't it? We are better at dealing with what is in our workplace than dealing with what is in the church. Helping to manage the community, helping to grow the community of the church. Brothers and sisters, is God really a priority in our lives? If He is, then let's put the money where our mouth is. Let us show that He is. Like I mentioned, this weekend we are doing recruitment for catechists. I don't know if this evening they will set up a booth that's outside the canteen. Give your name, your willingness. And if your excuse, or maybe your genuine reason is, I don't know, don't worry. The Office of Catechesis provides the necessary training and formation. How I know? Because I am also in the Office of Catechesis. We give you the basics. We give you what is there. And even better, we give you syllabus. Very straightforward. I don't know what else you all need. If you can take my brain, take. But I'm sure your brain is many times better than mine. Why? Because we have our experiences. We need to contribute to grow the parish economy. We need to use our resources that the Lord has blessed us with. Not just money, but the resources. The intellect that we have, the material blessings that we have. These are all help as a steward. We are all stewards of these material possessions for God. And for what use? To grow His kingdom, to grow His parish community here. So brothers and sisters, the Lord has blessed us abundantly. materially, intellectually, physically. Let us contribute. If we say God is a priority, then let us put Him truly as a priority in our lives. Give Him what is due to Him. One thing I can promise you, you will see His blessings in your life abundantly. Blessings which nobody